would just like to preface this episode by saying I'm sorry. Because we're both sick at the time of this recording.
Yeah, I'll try to cut out as much of the sniffling as
I know,
possible,
right?
But
Oh, boy.
see how it goes.
We are continuing with part 3 of John Wayne Gacy. We've talked about where his childhood started and kind of leading into his adult life. We talked about his victims and his MO. And now we're dealing with the aftermath of all that. So we're looking into the trial. And
Where we left off, he had just been arrested for handing that bag of weed to... I'm going to apologize again. I said it's just some kid. It was actually the gas station clerk. And another make good, whatever. I was pronouncing that river wrong all last week. It's not the Des Moines River, or what, Des Moines?
yeah, when you said Des Moines, I was like, Des Moines? Like Des Moines, Iowa? And that's why I was confused.
No, I don't know. But anyway, it's Des Plaines River, or Des Plaines. Des Plaines.
Des Plaines.
However you wanna
This guy's
pronounce that.
Des stupid. Fucking.
I don't...
Hey,
Yeah, that's
listen.
just how, when I look at it, that's just what I see.
Listen, baby. Shit in the East is spelled weird, and it's wrong.
Yeah, just like crick. Spelled wrong.
Well, let's not start that fight. Get in the comments. Crick or creek? It's creek.
It's crick. Drink your wine.
Yeah.
So much.
Dude, what's killing me is my lung capacity. So, like, going up the step, I'm a big boy, but going up the steps doesn't wind me. Right now, because I can't take full breaths, just going up the stairs, I'm like, oh god, I feel like I'm dying because I can't get enough air.
Yeah, that's how I was last week.
It's bad.
Like when around the time we were recording, and then I was working nights.
Yeah.
I was hacking up a lung.
God,
But I'm on the tail end of it.
I
which
want
is
to think I'm on the
nice.
tail end of it. Like, this morning, after I had my second round of Mucinex and everything, I was actually getting some sleep. Like, actually going into REM, and I felt myself, like, getting rest.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to do the 24-hour stream that I was going to do for New Year's. I don't think so. Like, unless I'm feeling so much better in the next 24 hours, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I'm just way too exhausted.
Quitter.
Wow, okay. All right, never mind then. But, sweet, so he gave weed to some kid.
The gas station clerk, yeah.
Gas station clerk. Is he, do we have his name? Is he important in this?
No.
Or is he just, okay.
It's just a gas station clerk.
Whoa, okay, don't fucking, a job's a job, all right?
No, I'm just saying he's not important to the
Yeah,
story.
he's a people.
But he had, pretty much right after he was arrested, he kind of made like a rambling statement to the police that he had killed 30 young men and boys.
I'm sorry, he just,
Yeah, he just decided he was done. I think it was eating at him.
was he, and I might be getting my serial killers confused, he wasn't the one that was like, I know my ears are also plugged, he wasn't the one that was paranoid that he was going to get caught.
No, that
Okay.
was Kemper.
That was Kemper.
Kemper was super paranoid. Go back and listen to our Ed Kemper episode. It's actually the least listened to episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was the second one we released.
In our defense, super high.
Ed Kemper?
We were...
No.
Weren't we?
No. There's only one episode we were high for, and that was the very first one. Because we cut the other 4 that we originally recorded.
Because we were super high in those
Yeah.
ones. That's right, never mind. Yeah, Ed Kemper was the one that made us realize,
Probably not.
don't do this anymore.
Yeah, because that Ed Kemper was the first one we drank for.
Yes. I personally still like the Ed Kemper one. Either one, I would recommend. Check him from the beginning to the end. Check all of our catalogs.
You get to learn new vocabulary.
You sure do. Fuck.
Aramatio, go listen to Ed Kemper.
Next t-shirt.
So he confessed to the 30 young men and boys, most of which, as we talked about last week, he buried in the crawl space, and that's what he had confessed to the cops. And then would confess that some were actually thrown into the Des Plaines River. Again, Des Plaines, not Des Moines, sorry. Over the next several weeks, the investigators unearthed the remains of 29 bodies on Gacy's property and another 4 in the rivers southeast of Chicago. So we're going to kind of break it down and go through. I have a timeline of all the events from here to his trial to everything else.
Yep. Sweet. Now, and just remind me, what year is this now? When did he start, and what year did he get caught?
1972 was his first kill.
Okay.
But he didn't really kill until 76.
Okay.
And then he got caught in December 23rd, I think, of 1978 is when he got arrested.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Fuck. Oh,
So
so a couple years span.
Yeah, it's like a 2-year span.
Yeah,
he killed 30 of his
Yeah, 'cause
victims.
he had that gap where he didn't really...
Yeah, because he killed one, and then there was a few years, and he killed the second, and then there was another few years, and then he just...
Rampage.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Godlike. Monster Kill, Mount Kilimanjaro.
It's actually really good.
Thanks.
So Gacy's house was essentially dismantled. Let's kind of backtrack. What sparked the search of the crawl space is that confession.
Because there was that one cop that gone down there, didn't find anything.
But it just looked like a dirt crawl space to him, and they had just drained that water.
Right.
So
that's right, because it kept flooding.
Yeah, he flooded it. Because he had the pump turned off.
Yeah.
So the one cop went down there with a shovel, and he started just digging in a random spot, and he found like a bone, and he's quoted as yelling up at the other police like, "Hey, I think we got a bunch of kids down here."
Damn.
So, and he probably didn't know it at the time, but he found a few bones here and there. So that's when they started the big search.
Sure.
They started ripping up the floorboards so that they didn't have to shove themselves into the crawl space.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So with physical evidence that was found prior to the bodies, there was paperwork, there was wallets, rings, IDs.
He kept everything?
Some stuff, yeah. Just trophies. I think that it's a thing a lot of serial killers do.
Sure.
But they found that stuff around inside the house. They had to bring in an anthropologist and dental expert teams to help with identification of the bodies because they didn't have DNA back then. So it was
DNA
all
existed.
dental.
We just didn't know how to.
No, it didn't exist until like the 90s.
Nobody was made of DNA. DNA,
DNA wasn't a thing until CSI Miami found it out. Did you ever watch those shows?
Dude, I fucking loved CSI Miami. Or CSI Vegas was probably my favorite one.
I just like the regular CSI.
My favorite thing was just, gambler gets shot playing poker, and the guy just looks like he played his last hand.
Yeah, they're shitty.
Fuck, dude?
They're shitty punchlines.
It's like, buddy, 3 people were murdered.
Do you know what show I've got really into? I watched it when I was a kid. Prison Break.
Oh, Prison Break was so good.
So I watched it as it was coming out.
Prison Break was so good.
But I didn't remember. Spoiler alert, it's like 20 years old, so if you haven't seen
it's an old fight.
Go fuck yourself. But, so he gets in, he breaks out with his brother. Shut the fuck up. You've seen it. Shut up.
He breaks out of prison in the show Prison Break?
So he breaks out, and then season 2, they're on the run. And I remember season 2 for the most part.
Yeah.
And then, but the end of season 2, when he gets put in Sona prison, I was like, I don't remember this
There's a lot of things I don't remember. Like, I didn't remember that a homegirl got killed.
Who? Veronica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I forgot that she just got ganked. And then they're just like, "Are you good, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, stupid bitch, told you not to call them."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening here? Prison Break was a very good show.
Very good show.
And it was...
As I'm rewatching it, I can see their stuntmen in scenes, and they don't look like... and none of them look alike.
No.
But I can see them through, like, the car windows. I can see them jumping off trains and all that stuff.
What a fucking cast in Prison Break.
Yes. Great show. Like, the guy that plays Schofield, Michael.
Oh, my God.
He's so good.
He's phenomenal. Lincoln's so good.
Sarah. What's his face that played Teabag?
Yeah.
He makes me so uncomfortable in the show because he's so good at the role.
He's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid that if I met him in real life, that's what he would be like.
Yeah, he'd call me pretty and lick his lips. Yeah. And be like, no, don't.
But part of me would be like, into this? Like, hold on.
No.
Nobody's called me pretty before. They don't make shows like that anymore. They really don't.
The 20 episodes per season, I love.
Yeah, what is with this bullshit, like, 10 episodes a season now?
Or, like, 6. Sometimes you only get 6.
Yeah, which is
like,
weird.
What the fuck, man?
Like, if they were doing it the BBC way, where it's like, yeah.
Well, people are like, oh, well, the episodes are longer, so it evens out. Like, no, it fucking doesn't. Because I can have 20 episodes at 46 to 50 minutes a piece.
Yeah.
Or 10 episodes at an hour, almost an hour exactly, and some of those are only 45 minutes.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. Like, BBC, the Sherlock series, their episodes, I think, were like almost a full feature-length film.
If you give me a 10-episode season, I should be guaranteed 2 hours per episode. So that it comes out to about the same... It should be like 20 hours per season.
Yeah.
It
should at that point, there's no reason why you can't do, like, 2 main plot points in an episode at that rate. Like, if you've got 2 hours to do it,
Like, Prison Break pulled it off with 45 to 50-minute episodes.
Yeah.
20 episodes a pop. And they had, like, 4 different storylines going on at some point.
At any given time, it was so good. Like, you had the thing with the senator. You had the thing with them trying to escape prison. You had the thing with, like, each character's backstory on why they were in prison. You know, you had the dirty guard and, like, his whole deal. Like, everybody had something going on at any given time. It was so good.
And then you find out that Sarah was a freaking morphine addict, the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
She was, like, in, I almost said remission, like it was cancer.
She was in relapse.
Yeah. She relapsed towards the end of season 1.
Fuck.
But yeah, like, the ending of season 2, because I watched it the other morning, and it was like the last 15 minutes, and Lacey watched it with me, but it was like, it was pouring rain, and the guards were like, this is as far as we go, and they open the prison doors, and he walks in, and they close it, and he's walking past, and he sees, like, the old prison guard, Brad Bellick, on the ground, like, having a seizure because he just got his shit kicked in. And yeah, and then he opens the next door and there's like chanting and screaming and it's like pouring rain and it just cuts.
So good.
So I'm like, I don't even remember what happens in season 3. Obviously, he probably breaks out of Sona, but
yeah, because there was like what, 6 seasons?
So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 that all came out back to back.
Yeah.
And then season 5 came out in 2017.
Well, that's right. It came out a while later.
Yeah,
like a decade later.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. That's weird.
Man, well, you know who's not getting a next season? These kids that they found in the fucking crawl space.
They don't get season 2.
Fuck.
So parents of the missing boys from as far as London were calling in.
I beg your finest pardon. He went international?
Well, no.
I mean, he didn't go international, but like kids traveling.
Kids traveling and went missing in America, so their parents were calling. So they're all trying to learn the identities of the victims.
Yeah.
Sending in dental records if they had them.
Is your son just holding up a skull? How about this one? Sorry, puts on the wig. Is that him?
Through further searches of the property, they found a red police light and police radio in Gacy's car. So he was
impersonating a
police officer quite often from what they had. 2 bodies were recovered that first day. 19-year-old John Zick and 17-year-old Gregory Godzik were both found that day. December 24th and 25th, the work stopped on the house.
Okay.
So the first day was mainly just ripping up floorboards, and they pulled the first 2 bodies. So on December 26th, work went back into routine. 5 bodies were pulled from the crawl space, and then 1 was found early in the day from the Des Plaines River.
Was he like wrapping them up individually, or just
he was stacking them on top of each other?
Stacking them and just lathering them up in sod and whatever, and
yeah,
that's crazy.
Lime.
Oh, that's right. He was using the lime because he had that one guy come in and pour a bunch of lime in his trench.
So all 5 of those bodies, all 5 of those bodies were found in the northeast quarter of the crawl space, and they were 4 of the 5 were stacked on top of each other. So they pulled one, and then they were gonna move on. And they saw, like, bones sticking out, like a hand sticking out of the ground. So they dug, and they pulled another body, and then they were like, oh, shit, there's another one under here. And they just kept pulling bodies out of the same hole.
I wouldn't have been able to resist, but like, hey, you guys want to see a magic trick?
Oh, my God.
I have to confess something
about
this particular case. I recognize the name, John Wayne Gacy, obviously. I didn't know the details that you're sharing with me.
Yeah.
You good?
My hip popped.
That what that was?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That was loud.
Dude, let me pop your hip. So then I heard the whole crawl space thing. Now, English as a second language. I confused crawl space with like an air duct, you know, like a ventilation system. So in my mind, when John Wayne Gacy got introduced into my life, please don't look at me like that. And like, you know, he put all the bodies. I was like, God, that's incredible that he put so many bodies into an air duct. Like, man, he must have like Tetrised these motherfuckers in there.
You stressed me out.
And then I was like, oh, God, imagine. They must have, like, all fused into, like, this gross goo of rotting flesh.
There was some bodies that took, like, one body took them 3 hours because it was suctioned into the mud.
Good God.
And then one of the police put his arms underneath the body and pulled as hard as he could. And he said that it sounded like a you pushed a plunger down onto the ground.
The squelch?
And then ripped it up like it was, like, suction sound, like...
Oh.
Yeah.
So I had the
You say squelch?
Yeah.
That's a horrible word.
Well, I mean, that's the sound that it would make.
That's just a disgusting fucking word.
But, I mean, am I wrong?
Am I wrong?
You know, like when you're marinating meat and you like...
Don't make the sound.
Okay. Cheese graters and squelching.
No, it's just
Got you good, bitch.
the word is
next Halloween's gonna be fun.
just the word sounds weird.
I'm gonna wear a meat suit like Lady Gaga at the Grammys.
A meat suit.
Did
And
you
it
not see
all
that?
just squelches. No, I didn't see that. I don't watch the Grammys. That's movies, right? I'm just kidding. I know it's songs.
I had to think about it too.
It's
I was like, wait a
music.
minute, is it?
It's music. I don't watch the Grammys.
Nobody watches the Grammys.
I'm sure somebody does.
So I'm just glad that in my mind, it's no longer an air duct, and it's a crawl space, which makes more sense.
Do you actually know what a crawl space is?
I do, because we had one at our old house.
Did you? Are you sure?
Yeah.
What'd you call it? Obviously, you didn't call it crawl space. Did you call that air duct?
No.
Dumb bitch. That same day,
Fucking die.
I hope you fucking die.
Hope you fucking choke on that red wine.
Later that day, police tied the death of Frank Landingen.
Lanigan?
His naked body was found in the river as well on the 20th.
So the only reason he started dumping him off in the river is just because he ran out of room?
He ran out of room, and he didn't want to put him in his attic because the leakage.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because he already tried that once. I was like,
Yeah, he tried putting it in the closet.
dumbass.
So
What a fucking amateur move, right?
the next day, 8 more bodies were found. So 15 of the 18 bodies had found to that day were all linked to Gacy.
Damn.
So the 3 bodies that had not yet been linked were found in the river, but Gacy would later confess to those ones as well. So Gacy, during his interviews, he drew them like a diagram of where the bodies were, and they would ask him, well, we found 5 bodies in this one hole, so how many bodies? He's like, I don't know.
Was that I don't know, as he's being coy?
No, like he actually doesn't know.
Or like he just lost count after a
Yeah,
while?
because he doesn't remember any of their names. He said he doesn't remember a lot of their faces either.
What a fucking womanizer. Or I guess not a womanizer. A manimizer?
Manimizer?
What a...
He was a slut. He was a slut for murder. And these cops had a rock hard boner for justice.
He was a whore for horror.
Horror.
Yeah, they really showed him the long arm of the law.
Several of the victims.
Penis.
Several of those victims, even though their bodies were rotting or fully skeleton at that point, they were wearing men's bikini underwear. And a lot of them had cloths and underwear stuffed down their mouth, like into their throat. That's how they were. And the ligature, the tourniquets around their neck, that's how they were figuring out how they died, because Gacy would just leave the bodies as is, and he'd just toss them in the hole and bury them.
Very unceremonious.
Mm-hmm. And there was usually like 1 inch to 2 inches of dirt between the bodies. So he'd like throw one in, kind of cover it, and then throw another one in, cover it.
Jesus. All I can think of it is the movie 300. When they took the Persian bodies and made a wall out of them.
Yeah, they made a wall, yeah. On December 28th, so the very next day, 4 more bodies were found, and there was hundreds of people around the house just watching them pull bodies out all day long. Camera crews, neighbors. A neighbor named Vivian Ristoff, she had her kids stand out and watch so that her kids could see the dangers of the world.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why you gotta stop fucking around with guys.
So at that point, 21 bodies had been found, and none of them had been identified at that point.
Oh, they were just pulling him out, and
none of them had been identified. They were pulling him out, and they were taking him to the anthropologist and the dental experts. And I tried to find a picture, but I couldn't find it. I had seen it previously, but it was basically a warehouse just lined with bodies.
That's crazy.
And they were like trying to link them to anything they could.
Imagine
they'd pull one body in and they'd put it on the exam table, and they'd have all of the dental records that all these parents have been giving them, so a huge fat stack, and they'd just be sifting through them and analyzing their teeth, and
Imagine they brought a guy on board, didn't tell him what they were doing, and he just starts building a dinosaur out of the bones. What are you doing? Oh, is this not? I was making a pterodactyl.
He mixed up all the bones. That'd be horrible.
I made a triceratops.
So, December 29th, 6 more bodies.
Sorry, I made a T-Rex. That's Jimmy. He's from our special victims unit.
Our special investigators unit.
Special investigators. It's a new thing we're doing. It's not working out.
So 6 more bodies were found, and 1 extra was found in the river. So 3 in the river. total, and
3 in the river,
25
2
from
in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Yes.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Sergeant Howard Anderson of the Cook County Sheriff's Office said, "I'm surprised we haven't had more calls from parents. Maybe they cannot imagine their sons getting involved in a case with homosexual overtones."
Yeah? Or maybe there's a couple parents that are just like, good, I was tired of that little shit anyways. Fucking hate him.
Hate him. Fucking hate him.
Fucking hate him.
Cook County Sheriff's medical
I
examiner.
hope it was my son. Hey, Gregory, you still up there? Yeah? God damn it, he's still here.
God damn it. He's all bummed.
He's all bummed.
Robert Stein, the Cook County chief medical examiner, says that there's evidence of even more bodies being buried under the house. Fewer than 24 relatives have actually contacted the police in an attempt to identify the bodies. Gacy, however, cannot be charged in any of the deaths of the victims whose bodies are found on his property until they are identified.
Really?
I mean,
Has that changed since?
I'm not a well,
You were an MP, military police.
I hate that you did that. So he can be. I don't think he can be charged until they're identified because
there's a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, I don't know though. I don't know the logistics of it. I don't.
That is crazy
This
to me.
is just this is
so
what
if
I
I kill
found.
somebody, just bear with me for a second. I murder somebody, rip out their teeth, cut off their fingers, so they have no dental records, no fingerprints, right? Bleach the body so there's no DNA to track it back to. I haven't thought about this at all. But just bear with me here. And they had no way to identify this person. I get away with it scot-free if they find the body in my basement?
Not scot-free. He's arrested right now.
He's arrested, but they can't charge him for it. Which means that if they never identified the bodies, they'd just be like, hey man, listen, you gotta stop doing this shit, okay? It's fucking weird.
Well, you gotta remember, they are originally investigating him for Peist.
That's true.
So
he was already on their radar.
Yes, until they find, because they were investigating him for Peist. He got arrested for weed.
That's right. So if they can,
and
find
then they started
Peist,
finding the bodies.
So if they can find Peist, they can nail him for everything else. Essentially,
yes. If they can prove that he was with Peist, then he can get him for everything else.
Where does he fall? Where does this all tie in with 9/11? What is his? John Wayne Gacy had to be a part of it.
What are you fucking
I don't
talking
know, dude.
about?
There's just a lot of moving parts. I just fucking.
There were so many bodies being pulled that they ended up creating a national toll-free number for identifying the bodies.
Like the Butterball turkey line?
Pretty much.
But for bodies?
So it was
John Wayne
established
Gacy's
for teenage runaways to advise family and friends that they were safe in the wake of Gacy's case. So they could call, family could call, and teenagers could call. So if the teenagers ran away, they could call that hotline and be like, hey, if my parents call, I am safe. That's what the hotline was meant for.
Oh.
And then parents could call and be like, hey, if my son doesn't fucking call, we
dead.
need to look into the case.
I thought it was a specific hotline. Like, John Wayne Gacy's crawl space, how can we help you? Yeah, my son, he was about 5'5", blonde. We're just checking. We haven't pulled anybody up from the ground that matches that. We'll let you know.
The two that were identified from the river couldn't be tied to him until they found physical evidence at his house.
The physical evidence being like...
ID, wallet,
shit that belonged
ring,
to them. Got it.
Something.
How many total did he dump in the river?
6, but only 5 were ever found because he said 1 fell onto a barge.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
So, December 30th, 1978, authorities revealed the identity of the first body taken from the basement. And like I said, 2 had been previously identified from the river, and the first one had just been identified from the house.
And now they've got shit in the house belonging to them to connect them.
So as the death toll climbed to 29, the workers continued to dismantle the house by taking apart the floor and digging through the crawl space. Dental experts announced the identity of the first body, and it was 18-year-old John Butkovich of Chicago. Butkovich had worked for Gacy, and he vanished August 1st of 75. He was the one that was buried under the garage. No, that wasn't him. The very first one was buried under the garage.
There was another one.
But John Butkovich was the one that his wife, Carol, had said that he went missing, and that's when the cops were like, light bulb. Yeah.
Is he the one in the dining room? Because I know he buried one in the dining room.
Under the dining room.
Yeah,
he was under the dining room. He had gone to... He's the one that went to John Gacy's house to collect money.
Yep.
So, while being questioned by police on December 21st of 78, Gacy had led the officers to his garage and showed them where the body... Okay, so yeah, it was Butkovich.
He was
under the garage,
Oh, okay.
I just had to read my notes.
Then who was in the fucking...
There's so many.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly.
There's probably like 8 of them stacked under the dining room. Yeah. So Butkovich was the one that he had dug up his garage floor and poured concrete over.
Do you think he stacked them in funny ways?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They said some were face down, some were face up, and some were just kind of
scattered.
Yeah.
I think at one point I'd have a series of them in the YMCA pose.
I hate you.
I'd make a great serial killer.
Body of 20-year-old James Mazzara of Elmwood Park had been missing since the prior month. He was pulled from the river on December 28th, and his body was identified. Gacy told police several bodies could be found at the juncture of Des Plaines and Kankakee rivers south of Joliet.
Is it Des or Des Plaines?
Dude, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's over there can correct me, but yeah. New Year's Day of 1979, 3 more victims had been identified, so that brings the total up to 6 known victims.
Jeez.
Eugenia Godzik said, "Up until now, I felt that, gee, maybe he got away. Maybe it's not him." But his body had been identified on January 1st of 78.
Damn.
Or 79, sorry.
Imagine that's how you find out that your son was gay.
Not dead.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the dead thing too, but like...
God, it's so much worse than I thought!
Well, I mean, back in the day, probably.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah. So Gregory Godzik, John Zick, and Rick Johnston were the 3 bodies identified on the 1st of that year. Gregory was a 17-year-old that disappeared December 11th of 76. John Zick was 19 when he disappeared on January 20th of 77. And Rick Johnston of Bennsville, he was 17, and he was last seen June 8th of 76, after his mother dropped him off at that he was the rock concert kid. I forgot I added this part. So, meanwhile, the Chicago Metropolitan Clown Guild held a news conference to say that Gacy's penchant for playing Pogo the Clown has caused other clowns in Chicago area to lose bookings because mothers were afraid holy crap. Sorry, people. I just had a mouthful of...
Yeah, I'm sorry, of me. Let me back up.
Zip. So the Chicago...
Who the... God.
He's crying. He's like,
here, gives him a tissue paper, but it's one of those things where like it never
it just
stops
keeps
coming
coming.
out.
He's like, here you go. It just keeps coming out of his sleeve.
It's so good.
Pick a card.
Pick a card.
On January 3rd, Gacy was interviewed. Authorities met with Gacy, who assured them, "You'll have all of the bodies." 27 had been recovered on his property, and 2 more additional ones, so that brings it up to 5, had been pulled from the river near Joliet. Gacy said each of the victims' residents of Cook County was killed inside his house, and it is only after the crawl space under his house had become crowded that he started disposing them in the river. And he said that he only had dumped 6 bodies in the river.
You know what I'm just realizing? I'm so sorry.
You're Mexican?
What? What?
What? What
were you going to tell me?
What did you just realize?
I just figured out that during our intro, I forgot to say we're the spooky guys.
Oh, yeah. That's who we are.
So thanks for making it this far.
Anyway. I don't like the scripted intro thing. I like what we got going. And if you don't like our intro, don't listen to the fucking intro.
I love what we have going.
Because I'm not going to sit there and read something and be like, yeah, today we're covering John Wayne Gacy Part 3. We will go through this, and that.
No.
I don't like that.
We don't have to have anything scripted, but I do like having a intro to what the episode topic is going to be.
I think I just don't like the thought of me. I don't like the thought of me just reading to people, because I don't like talking in front of people.
Sure.
So if I just make it like it's talking to you, it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like doing it.
No. And I'm more than happy to keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't mind you doing it, but...
No, I don't care either way. But no, I like having it at the beginning, just so people know what the fuck we're going to be talking about, and then we can bullshit our way through it. Oh, it's
it's just spam.
Yeah,
you have 278 followers. I don't need your YouTube views.
Yeah, I have somebody exactly. Fucking, that's my favorite. Or I get somebody, I get this email from this one company in the UK, and it's the same copy and paste script. And it's like, hey, we love how committed you are to D&D content and to your community, but we've noticed your engagement's pretty low. We think we can boost that up. I'm like, I have 370,000 followers. I'm averaging like 10,000 likes. I'm doing good. I'm fine.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Fuck you, Mom. Fuck you, Dad.
I get like 10 likes on my Facebook posts.
You're doing really good, buddy.
Thanks.
I'm so proud of you.
He also had described how he killed his first person on January 3rd of 1972.
Was it the one that was making him breakfast?
Yeah, that was the one that he found out was making him breakfast.
Do you think...
And that's the one I thought he had buried in the garage, but he had actually buried him in the crawl space. And
I think he was the first one in the crawl space.
That was the first one in the crawl space.
Yeah.
And then, because he was the first one he ever killed, and that was Timothy McCoy.
Chalamet. Oh. Sorry.
So that was McCoy, and then John Butkovich was the one that was buried under the garage.
Do you think if he hadn't acted so rashly, there's a word in there I'm trying to think of. Brazenly? No. So if he hadn't been so quick to act and kill that guy that was making him breakfast, do you think he still would have become a serial killer? Or do you think he would have accepted himself and be like, oh, I'm happy with men, and this man treats me well, and he made me breakfast. Not only do I get to eat his meat, I get to eat his meat.
I think he had fantasized about it prior.
Killing?
And I think it was just a matter of time.
Really? No matter what? Is this your foot?
No, that's Frodo.
Oh, Frodo's down here. Oh, baby boy. Hi, I'm sorry. I thought you were down here. I'm not going to lie. You're such a good boy.
So when he described that to them, the investigators went and cut up the carpet of his bedroom, and they found a large blood stain on the underside of his carpet. And that blood matched a body that they had found. This was later on, but Timothy Jack McCoy.
Well, you might not know it off the top of your head. I was going to say, when did DNA testing become?
In the 90s.
Oh, you did know it off the top of your head. Fuck me. Okay,
yeah.
Never mind then. Great. Thanks.
So the body, after all that, they had found all those bodies. They were still looking for 15-year-old Robert Peist, which was the whole reason this investigation started in the first place.
Peist was what contributing.
And that's the only one he's been charged with murdering as of right now.
So they're looking at all these bodies and they're just like, natural causes.
So, he admitted in December, after he had been caught, that he had killed Peist and threw his body in the river.
Okay.
January 4th, Peist's jacket was found in Gacy's house, and it was like a blue down-filled, like parka type thing, because his mom identified it.
Okay. I didn't know if it had like his name on the tag.
Oh, I don't know. I know people used to do that.
Yeah.
You still do that with your underwear.
What? I beg your finest pardon?
But yeah, it was...
we're glancing by it. Okay,
it was
all right.
found... The jacket was found under the floorboards of his laundry room. So he, lifted the floorboards and stuffed his jacket under there. And then, later on it was confirmed by his relatives that had been his jacket. And his mom told them that was the jacket that he was last seen in.
That's crazy.
January 6th of 79, 4 more bodies were identified. Michael Bonin of Chicago was last seen June 3rd of 76. Robert Gilroy of Chicago, 18, was last seen alive September 15th of 77. His dad was the cop.
Oh, yeah.
John Prestige of Chicago was last seen March 15th of 77. His grandfather, Ira, told reporters that his grandson came to Chicago to visit a friend, but had found work with a contractor. Womp womp. Russell Nelson of Clagett, Minnesota.
Bless you.
Yeah. Gesundheit.
Gesundheit.
He was 21 or 22. He was last seen alive October 17th of 77. He was the first victim outside of the Chicago area. January 7th, 79, the Missing Persons Data Bank is created. Estimating the departure receives up to 20,000 reports of missing persons. About 14,000 of those are juveniles. Chicago police announced that the agency will create a computerized program to help investigate the cases to find out if they were kidnapped or killed, because there's so many bodies they kept pulling that they...
So what you're saying is that John Wayne Gacy was a hero because he started these programs.
You could spin it that way if you chose.
I mean, if you think about it, the guy that killed Hitler is a hero.
Is Hitler dead, though? Maybe of old age now, but he was seen in Argentina.
Well, yeah, that doesn't fucking surprise me. Fuck you, Argentina.
January 8th, Gacy was indicted, and the state was seeking the death penalty. They announced that they'd seek the death penalty.
Death penalty, huh?
Yeah.
Is that...
At that point, he was charged with the death or the murders of 7 young men, and they were all felony aggravated kidnapping, deviant sexual assault, and taking indecent liberties with a child.
Strange way to just call him a pedophile, but okay.
I don't think the word pedophile was really a thing back then.
Well, no.
It wasn't, like, widely used.
Yeah. Well, when you had these, like, farm boys, like, I met my little Susie Dew when she was 12. I was 26 back from the war. It was just what you did back then. Normal.
I hate you so much.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
But death penalty, was that very common? Like when did we stop doing death penalty? Like,
I mean, there's some states that still do the death penalty.
I think Texas still does.
In Montana, if you steal a man's cattle, you're hung.
I don't know what that has to do with me having a big cock.
Cattle.
Yeah.
What?
What did you say?
When you steal another man's cattle, you get hung.
Oh, you get hung. Got it. Sorry.
Not you are hung.
My bad. I misunderstood. I was like, okay, all right.
Well, either way, you're hung.
It's a win-win for me.
You've already announced to me and the viewers that it's 1 inch hard, 2 inches soft.
First of all, 6 soft, 3 hard. All right.
I'm a shrinker, not a grower.
Listen, I'm not gonna get into the living room and rearrange the furniture, but I will make a mess at the front door. You know what I'm saying?
So on January 9th of 79, another identification was linked to Gacy. He was naked and was found so close to the others that it was very possible he was involved with the Gacy thing. The body was recovered in June of 78 from the Illinois River, just miles from where Frank Landigan and James Mazzara's bodies were found. It was identified with fingerprints as Timmy O'Rourke of Chicago.
Damn.
Timmy. Did I say Timmy? Timothy?
You said Timmy.
It's Timothy. January 10th, Gacy's plea was not guilty. He was charged with the murder.
He had the fucking audacity to say not guilty to this?
He tried pleading not guilty as reason of insanity. He was denied.
Oh, yeah. No shit, Sherlock. Holy fuck.
Charged with the murder of 7 young men, Gacy pleaded not guilty in front of Judge Louis Garripo at what is now Layton Criminal Court Building in Chicago. The charges include the murder while committing another felony as a capital offense. January 27th of 79, 2 more bodies were identified, so that brings the total number 12 identified bodies using the dental records. John Mowry of Chicago was 19. He was reported missing September 28th of 77. He had just completed 18 months with the Marines and returned to Chicago. His sister Judith was murdered 6 years prior, and that case remains unsolved.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Matthew Bone... What?
He didn't, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
He didn't kill girls.
I was about to ask you, he didn't kill any
her.
women.
He only killed men.
Okay.
John Mowry of Chicago, he was 19, who was reported missing September 25th of 77. Oh, wait, I just read that one.
Yeah, my bad.
Rewind. Matthew Bowman of Crystal Lake, 18. He was reported missing by his sister on July 5th of 77. March 9th of 79, the 28th body is found on the Gacy property. Skeletal remains bearing a wedding band on the ring finger of the left hand.
Skeletal. I heard Skeletor remains, and I'm like...
I said skeletal.
I know, but I heard Skeletor.
Oh.
I was like, a He-Man fan, was he?
He was dug up beneath the driveway, a location not marked on a rough diagram by Gacy provided earlier to the police. So, either Gacy forgot about the body he buried under the driveway, or
he was
trying to hide that one.
The driveway, out in the open, so the fact that he had to have, like, broken the concrete, dumped this body in the middle of the night...
Or he had a gravel driveway.
That's true.
I posted pictures of the property. I didn't look.
That's wild. Did he end up confirming all the kills and all the bodies ended up matching up?
Yep.
Or were there some
He was
missing?
charged with all 33.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any unaccounted for? Other than the
other
one.
From what his story, other than the 34th, that was the barge one.
Yeah.
All of them had been found, but not all have been identified, and we'll get around to that.
Okay.
March 16th, 79, the 29th body was found. A skeleton was found in the mud below the floorboards of an addition to the Gacy house. So he had built an addition later on, but the body was found under the floorboards.
Honestly, if they didn't get him for the bodies, they probably would have got him for not having the right ordinance and zoning rights.
Oh my god.
But this isn't up to standard. This isn't these cross beams here, sir. No, we understand the bodies, but this is out of compliance. No electrical or plumbing? Oof, fine.
March 17th, another body was identified. William Carroll, the father of William Carroll.
Oh, this was a junior.
When Billy was 14 or 15, he was caught with a .38 Smith & Wesson automatic pistol. According to what I've learned from this of his friends, he'd shoot it at people just to scare them. He liked to watch people run. That's what his dad said, apparently.
Okay, Columbine.
So,
Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know what that quote's all about.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, are you justifying your
He's
kid
just telling
being
his
dead?
son to shoot. He's just telling everyone, yeah, my kid used to shoot at people because it was fun.
This man really went, listen, I'm glad it happened because he was going to kill somebody eventually. Honestly, John Wayne Gacy's my hero.
Dental charts revealed that William Carroll of Chicago at 16 is a Gacy victim. The youth with a penchant for getting into trouble disappeared on June 13th, 1976, which was his older brother's birthday. April 9th of 79, Pice's body was found and identified. Believed to be the last of the Gacy victims, police had evidence that in Gacy's car and home that tied to Pice. Gacy had confessed to dumping Pice's body in the river and was arrested for his murder, but Pice isn't positively identified as a Gacy victim until dental charts and x-rays confirmed it on April 9th.
And that was the one that they were trying to get him for originally.
Yeah, that's the one they were trying to get him for originally, and they had found his body months prior, but they couldn't identify it because whatever had happened.
Because science.
Science rules.
Yeah, science, bitch.
On April 10th, Gacy's house was demolished.
That is a national landmark.
Jesus Christ. Lillian Grexa was a neighbor. She said, I've had friends ask when it was going up for sale. Time will make people forget.
Yeah.
But people wanted to buy it. With the Illinois Supreme Court refusing to allow any further delay, the Gacy house is raised by county workers. They had offers of people were offering millions of dollars to buy that
Oh,
house.
I'm sure. People are fucking weird. People get off on that shit.
April 11th, 1979, the 16th body is identified by X-ray. Randall Reffitt of Chicago, age 15, could not be identified by dental records, but an X-ray was taken at the hospital after he previously suffered a stab wound when he was younger.
Stab wound. Also,
Yeah, so Randall Reffitt had been stabbed when he was younger,
nothing to do with.
and they were able to match the bones.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's where I was confused. I was like, okay, that tracks.
April 23rd of 1979, John Wayne Gacy was indicted on 33 counts of murder. Already under indictment for the murders of 7 youth, Gacy was indicted for an additional 26 by the Cook County grand jury. At 33 total is the largest number charged to one person in U.S. history at the time.
It's crazy.
May 21st of 79, the 17th body was identified. William Kindred of Chicago, 19, was identified through dental records supplied by his mom. He had last been seen on February 16th of 1978. His
Hey, girlfriend.
his girlfriend, Mary Jo Paulus, had met Kindred when he picked her up, and a friend, Jesus Christ, man.
Fucking, I thought English was my second language.
They were hitchhiking on the north side in July of 77. She was the one that reported him missing, and she said, I even called Billy's sister and told his mom I felt that Billy was under that house. Billy's another word for William, if you didn't know that.
Oh, no shit. It's not for
Billiam.
Billiam? I was trying to fucking figure out how to put that together.
June
Billiam
17th of 1979, the auction for the Gacy property was called off. They said, I'm not sure that's the proper way to get money to help the families.
How else are you going to do it?
There was also items that were not needed as evidence that were supposed to be on that.
Oh, like auctioned off?
Mm-hmm. including stereo equipment, furniture, tools for remodeling homes and businesses, and a collection of clown heads.
And here we have a large variety of different piano wire. Not sure why he had these.
Gacy's belongings would end up staying in storage for 15 years when the Attorney General Roland Burris filed a lawsuit to recoup costs of warehousing them for Gacy in 1994. We'll get back to why 1994 is a good year for Gacy. Maybe not for him.
Yeah, I was like, things are looking up for Gacy.
In 1994, Gacy's cars, including the 79 Oldsmobile that he drove around and picked people up, they were sold in April of 1980 at an auction in Winnebago County, which also featured vehicles owned by Muhammad Ali, Elvis, and former President Gerald Ford.
They were also serial killers?
No.
Oh.
They just auctioned their vehicles off at the same time.
Oh, okay.
July 23rd of 79, the sheriffs released the descriptions of the personal items. So I'm going to go through the list. I figured this would be a good thing to throw in there. It's just a list of clothing items that they found.
6 G-strings, 37 strap-ons.
An army green fatigue jacket with Duke sewn on the left front of the outline and of a 1st Cavalry Air Mobile Division patch.
Was he...
No, this is all evidence.
Oh,
this
it's
has nothing
got
to
it.
do with Gacy. This is all evidence. Brown Frontier style fringed leather jacket, size 38. Black quilted nylon jacket splattered with white paint. Dark red or maroon shirt with silver threads. Blue jeans with cloth stars sewn on his decorations. There were 2 watches found, a white metal Boy Scout wristwatch with a compass on the face, and a white metal Ingram.
Oh, yeah, you see somebody wearing that, you know he fucks.
Fucks dudes.
Well, yeah, I guess in this case.
There's nothing wrong with fucking dudes, if that's what you're into, Jonathan. You shouldn't shame people. Necklaces. There was a wooden bead necklace, a turquoise and white round shell chain, and a large metal chain bearing Latin words, Utrius Octus Auxilio, on a pendant. Do you know what that means?
Ludacris was here. Give it to me again.
Utrius Octus Auxilio.
Auxilio, not axilla, because that would be armpit. Sound. Auxiliary. Ox. Sound. Utrius oxus. Stupefy. Expecto patronum. Reparo. Credit scoro increso. Permanentis greencardius.
Hang on, Jesus Christ. In English, it says both increased support.
It's fucking dumb.
I don't know. Yellow, so these are belt buckles. Yellow metal with an engraving of an old vehicle and the words Ford Model A, and a white metal belt buckle with brown stone and black striping, later found to belong to victim Robert Winch.
Damn. So the families don't get another shit pack?
Eventually, once it's not evidence anymore.
Yeah.
August 28th of 1979, they decided to hold 1 trial instead of 33.
Oh, God, they were going to do 33 individual
Originally, they
ones?
were going to do 33 individual trials.
Yeah, fuck that.
And they joined it all into one. September 12th of 79, 2 more bodies were identified. And these guys vanished days apart. Tommy Boyling Jr. of Chicago, 20 years old. He disappeared November 18th of 77. And Robert Winch of Chicago was 16, and he disappeared November 11th, 77.
It's crazy. It's crazy how you can just go back to back to back like that.
Yeah. October 24th of 1979, the county is ordered to pay for Gacy's defense. Gacy's attorney, Sam Amarante, said, if we ever make a profit on this case, we would be glad to reimburse the county.
What do you do at that point? Like, because I get it. Everybody is entitled to a just trial, and everybody has the right to have somebody represent them, defend them. But you go into this, and they give you a stack, and they're like, "Hey, listen, you're the public defender for this guy named John Wayne Gacy. He's for sure killed 35 people."
So, the reason they did this is because they took all of Gacy's money, because he was a rich man. They took all of his money and they gave it to the families. The exact amount had not yet been determined at that time, but Judge Garippo ruled that the county taxpayers will end up paying for Gacy's attorneys, Sam Amarante and Robert Moda, who say they had ran out of money and are more than $2,000 in debt, which at the time was a decent amount of money.
Sure.
November 14th of 79, another Gacy victim was identified.
Jesus.
Samuel Stapleton of Chicago 14 was identified by an x-ray of his head that included outlines of his teeth. He disappeared on a walk home from his sister's house in May of 76. His mom said he was just any other kid. He'd get picked up for curfew violation, fine. He was no runaway. His parents knew Stapleton might be dead almost a year earlier when the medical examiner's office showed them a bracelet they had found on one of the bodies in Gacy's home.
It was like by your cheek.
Identification... November 16th of 79, identification brought the total of 21 known victims. What would have been his 21st birthday, David Talsma of Chicago, was identified through x-rays of his left arm as a Gacy victim. Talsma was reported missing in December of 77 by his father. January 7th of 1980, jury is starting to be chosen for the trial. That would be in Chicago.
I feel like it would be hard to find a jury that's not biased.
For that, yeah.
Yeah.
They went with, I don't know the counties in Illinois very well,
Nobody
but
does.
they went with Winnebago County, which I think is around Chicago area, but...
Oh. Like Winnebago, like the RV?
Mm-hmm.
Winnebago, like the RV? Winnebago?
After Gacy's attorney's request to change the venue, Judge Garipo ruled the jury, 12 regular jurors and 2 alternates, will be chosen in Rockford and will be sequestered in Chicago for trial. Garipo says that the plan was to save Cook County the expense of moving prosecutors and defense attorneys, court personnel, and witnesses for what is expected to be a very lengthy and costly trial. January 26th of 1980, Gacy is rushed to Rockford. Under extraordinary security measures, Gacy is transferred from Cook County to an isolated area on the 3rd floor of a building next to Winnebago County Courthouse prior to jury selection.
Yeah, they're about to fuck him in that John Wayne Gacy, if you know what I fucking mean.
He was facing a lot of violence in Cook County
Oh, I bet.
jail. Yeah. February 6th of 1980, the trial began. Assistant State Attorney Robert Egan said Gacy killed like he was swatting flies. Due to the graphic nature of the testimony and evidence that was being presented, Judge Garipo banned anyone under the age of 16 from entering the courtroom. Defense attorneys hoped to convince the jury that Gacy is not guilty by reason of insanity, and prosecutors want Gacy sentenced to the electric chair.
Damn. So they were out for blood.
They were out for blood right off the bat.
They should have made it a pay-per-view.
I don't think
Just to recoup some of their costs.
I think the first one that was actually fully broadcasted was, there's the Menendez brothers, but O.J. Simpson.
Innocent.
Well, yeah, but his court case was...
Yeah, but
Like,
he didn't do it, though.
Domino's had record sales during his card
Oh, yeah,
case.
that's right.
Yeah. March 12th of 1980, he is ruled as guilty. Cook County State's Attorney Bernard Carey. He certainly qualifies for the death penalty. If he doesn't, who does? After 5 weeks of testimony from psychiatrists, police, neighbors, acquaintances, and family members of the victims, a jury takes less than 2 hours to convict Gacy of killing 33 men. And on March 13th, he was sentenced to die. Judge Luis Garipo said, "I don't know what this trial cost. Whatever the cost, it was a small price. My voice is cracking because I really feel a small price we pay for our freedom. What we do for the John Gacys of the world, we do for everyone."
Damn.
Parents and relatives of Gacy's victims broke into applause when it was announced at 6 p.m. that Gacy had been sentenced to die. Judge Garipo sets an execution date of June in 1980, but the sentence is automatically stayed while the case is appealed to the Illinois Supreme Court. So he was sentenced March 3rd, and his date to die was June 2nd, 1980.
So a couple months later.
But his attorneys filed for a stay of that execution.
They filed an appeal, yeah. Because I get it. It's their job. They got to do what they got to do.
March 14th, Gacy's transferred to death row under heavy security. Gacy became the first inmate imprisoned in the new downstate Menard Correctional Center. He's the 23rd man in Illinois to be scheduled for execution. On March 29th, 3 more victims were identified, bringing the total up to 24. Penny Johnson, the sister of Daryl Sampson said it's a relief in one way to finally know what happened to... Wrong one. Well, Kenneth Parker is her brother. It's a relief in one way to figure out what happened to Kenny, is what she's quoted as saying.
I'm sure it's nice knowing what happened to somebody at the very least, even if they're gone.
Yeah.
But just knowing, you don't have to carry that, like, oh, maybe they're still out there.
Yeah. In 2011, there was someone who thought their family thought that they were a victim of John Wayne Gacy, but they actually found him living in Florida.
Damn. Homie was just like, I fucking don't want to talk to you guys anymore.
Like 30 years later, yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Childhood friends Kenneth Parker of Chicago, 16, and Michael Marino, 14, both disappeared October 24th of 76, and they were identified through dental and radiology charts. And that was, so Penny Johnson was Kenneth Parker's sister. Daryl Sampson of Chicago, 19, was also identified that day. April 2nd, 1980, they started linking personal effects to the victims. Unable to sort which items inside the house belonged to Gacy and which to victims, police decided to display them. A variety of cufflinks, jewelry, clothing, cigarette lighters, watches, and pocket knives at the sheriff's station in Niles so that families could come identify them.
Fair.
May 15th, 1980, Gacy's lawyer quits to pursue a book deal. Sam Amarante and Robert Moda, who were each paid $44,000 for their work defending Gacy, withdraw from the case and bill the county for $57,000 for expenses, and
so
signed a
they
book
legit
deal.
made
A
their
book,
money.
movie, and television deal. Yeah.
And then said fucking them out. Was that from both the kids that you were taking, or just from Canyon? What'd they do?
Seconds went by. They were like, pretty much. And so I'm like, all right, whatever.
Were they both in Canyon's room?
Yeah. And I could hear them screaming from the fucking living room.
Yeah.
So, and your mom's in there, and she's like, they won't listen to me.
When they're together, they feed off of each other and
I'm
just.
glad they're playing. Like, they weren't fighting.
No, I know.
But it's like.
No, 100%.
And they went outside. Little assholes. I should just made them go outside.
Yeah, should have bundled them up and thrown them out. We're in an hour and 10.
We're getting there.
I'm just giving you a count, not in a like hurry up kind of way. I don't care.
How much do you have left?
A few pages.
It's not bad. This is still going to be, even with the stuff we cut out, it'll be an hour plus, which is right where we usually
It'll
try
be
to
like our longest episode yet.
Yeah.
July 14th of 1980, an artist reconstructs unknown victims. Robert Stein of the Cook County Chief Medical Examiner saying, I'm going to
Try it again. From the top.
On July 14th of 1980, artists reconstruct unknown victims. Robert Stein, the Cook County Chief Medical Examiner, is quoted as saying, "My plea would be a very simple one. Are you parents or are you not parents? Do you have a son or do you not have a son?" In a plea to the families of the missing young men, that is what Cook County Chief Medical Examiner said. And he started releasing images of facial reconstruction by Betty Pat Gatliffs, and they were the models that she had created.
Yeah.
And they were the 9 unidentified victims from Gacy's property. Stein had appealed for dental charts of missing youths, but only received about 200 of them.
And none of them matched.
None of them
Have we matched them to this day, or still?
I'm getting
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry.
Let it just come to fruition.
Just didn't mean to shoot my load so early. My bad.
Stein also encouraged families reluctant to identify their son because of fear that he might have been a homosexual to remember there is no evidence that an individual child here participated in any sexual deviant practices. We need to identify these boys. June 12th, 1981, the bodies are laid to rest. 9 caskets were donated and adorned with yellow wreaths with yellow mums and daisies in a semicircle outside of Abbey Chapel and Oak Ridge Glen Oaks Cemetery during a short service to honor the 9 unidentified bodies.
So they don't know who they are.
Robert Stein said, "I don't want to see you go to your final resting place as just a number. I will find your names."
Damn.
August of 1982, Gacy's paintings are shown and sold at the Illinois State Fair. 6 paintings created by Gacy, which are very good, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we found out that George W. Bush was a painter and he's actually decent.
Including one featuring the 7 dwarves, a desert scene, a mountain ranch scene, portraits of circus clowns, and a portrait of a Native American chief. are among 500 pieces that were exhibited at the fair by prison inmates. 4 of the works would sell for $20 to $45. The money was then used to provide inmates with paint and other art materials. June 6 of 84, Supreme Court upholds Gacy's conviction. The court affirms that Gacy's March 12, 1980 conviction for 33 capital murders upholds the death penalty. In a 72-page opinion, the court rejects all 39 issues raised by Gacy's lawyers, including the argument that Gacy, although he admitted the killings, had been prevented during the trial to adequately prove he is insane. July 24th, 1984, Gacy's property is sold for $30,544. It's just the property. The house is
The house was razed. Yeah.
They ended up rebuilding a house on that property.
A house, or did they?
They built a house on the property.
Okay. I wasn't sure if somebody was like, "Hey, I want the house."
Rebuild it.
Crawl space and all.
March 4th, 1985, an appeal was denied by the U.S. Supreme Court again. In a 6-2 decision, the dissents by death penalty opposing Justices William Brennan and Thurgood Marshall, the Supreme Court denies Gacy's appeal. So he had appealed again to not be on the death penalty, and they denied it.
So he was he trying to get out of jail completely, or
He was just trying to get out of getting killed.
Okay.
In May of 1986, the earliest victim was identified, and that was Timothy Jack McCoy. That was the one who had made him breakfast. The knife that Gacy stabbed him with was still in his chest in the crawl space.
Fuck.
May 10th of 94. Remember I said the year 1994 was a good one? Gacy is executed. Judge Frank Easterbrook of the U.S. Court of Appeals said if his lawyers believed that deluging the court with paper at the last instant would lead us to delay the execution in order to have more time to read the documents, they were very mistaken.
Damn.
With all his legal appeals exhausted, Gacy would die following a lethal injection of chemicals at 12:58 a.m. at Statesville Correction Center near Joliet. His last meal included fried chicken and butterfly shrimp, and his last words were, "Kiss my ass."
He went out his way.
July 19th, 2017, a second long unknown Gacy victim was identified as Jimmy Hankinson. He set out on an adventure more than 40 years ago, traveling to Chicago from his Minnesota home at just 16. It was DNA supplied by his brother and sister that helped confirm that he was a victim. October 25th of 2021, another victim was identified as Francis Wayne Alexander, and he was known as only victim number 5. Alexander's body was discovered inside Gacy's home on the 26th of December, 1978. He was killed anywhere between 76 and 77. There's only 5 more unknown Gacy victims that remain, and that is the end of the story of John Wayne Gacy. For right now. More bodies may be identified eventually.
You never know. You never know.
It's just a matter of people coming forward.
Yeah.
No, DNA.
Again, I know we joked about it, and you know, of course, it's not a joke. Be who you want to be, love who you want to love. But the fact that so many people didn't want to speak up for fear that their kid...
They were so scared that their child was gay that they wouldn't...
Homophobia was, I mean, not that it doesn't exist now, but like...
It was a lot worse then.
Yeah, you know, it's... People? No, they're good. Cup. It's just Frodo.
He doesn't chew on nothing.
Yeah, that's why I was confused, because I saw it moving, but it's just because he's breathing.
Donut in front of that dog's face, and he'll just stare at it.
It's true. I've lathered my balls in peanut butter. Won't come near me. It's very upsetting. It's also terrible because I'm deathly allergic.
We didn't even do like a top 5 anything this episode. We just kind of dove right in.
We did dive right in. We had
some banter, though.
We had a little bit of banter. I think we're both, again, sick. We're reeling from it. Top 3. I got nothing for you.
Top 3 video games of your childhood.
Fuck. I think we already did that one last time. No?
Not video games. We've never talked about... Well, we've talked about video games, so we've never done a list.
We had to have, because, listen, Final Fantasy... And I'm going to just go franchises, because it's too hard to pinpoint a single one. Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, Onimusha. Those are my top 3.
Is that 3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
So that's your 1.
WoW? No.
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 You still play WoW. Like,
Yeah.
Listen, here's what bugs me so much. I got labeled as like I play games so much. That's all I do. Like I you know.
That's how I got labeled too.
Right.
I got bullied for it.
But you play so much more than me. I'm talking about just like in our personal lives.
No.
Like that
So the whole Xbox thing came out and it was like, hey, check your hours.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the Spotify year in preview.
The Spotify
Where
Wrapped?
you-
Yeah.
So I got on my Xbox One. It was like, you played 1,000 hours. I was like, oh God, that's a lot. I thought it was a lot.
Over the course of a year, it's not that much.
And then it's only a month. And then my friends
Yeah.
were sending me theirs, and they're all like in the 4s and 5,000s. I'm like,
That's a lot.
okay, maybe I'm not that bad.
No. Like I play 3 hours a stream. I stream maybe 3 times a week. So 9 hours. So I play like 27 hours a month.
I don't believe that.
It's true.
We'll see. We'll see what the StatCast tells. Just kidding.
You got to remember though, mine's not on Xbox. Mine's mostly on Steam.
You can still see that. You're like,
It'll have skewed numbers though because I leave my computer on.
so 3 is WoW.
Well, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's in my top 3. It's not my number 1.
Okay, go on.
Destiny is number 2.
I should have known. Fortnite.
No, Halo being
fair.
on my number 1.
That's fair.
No, Fortnite is just something I play with Lacey
kids.
and the kids.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it, but it's not like my favorite game on the planet.
I hate it. I fucking hate Fortnite.
Because you suck?
Yeah.
Well, I win all the time, so.
That's because you play in bot lobbies.
Is it? I don't even know what that means.
What?
I don't even know what that means.
Bot lobbies? Bot lobbies means that it's
Because my
mostly-
wins aren't easy.
Some of your wins have been easy. I've seen some of your fucking wins.
Talking about the TikTok videos I have,
I've seen some of them.
where I land.
I've seen some of the
sweet
people
snipes.
I've seen some of the fucking enemies you fight. There's no way that's actual people, which means that
It
either-
is because the amount of people under 10 that play Fortnite, they're not bots. They're
So
just
you
kids.
like playing with kids? Wow.
Kick their shit in, yeah.
Jesus.
Hope they fucking cry to their moms.
No, I loved. You know which game I love in the realm of Fortnite? PUBG.
I hate PUBG.
I fucking
man.
loved PUBG.
No, I don't like battle royales necessarily. Like I said, I just play Fortnite because they do. I like open world games, RPGs, loot. I love Skyrim.
I'm such a loot whore. I
In
love
Skyrim?
Loot Goblin. Yeah, all
I
the time.
sell stuff all the time.
I mean, I'll sell it, but I'll loot everything.
Yeah, I'll loot everything that's in every chest. Great game.
It was the motion sickness. It was getting to me. But, well, shit, thanks for that wonderful, wicked? Thanks for that shitty ride through the life
Yeah.
of John Wayne
It was
Gacy.
a long, shitty ride.
It was
3 episodes on just John Wayne Gacy. I cannot wait to get off of John Wayne Gacy.
like a lot of good info because, again, I didn't know anything about this guy. But, like, fuck.
I'm excited to move over into the missing people.
Missing 411?
Yeah. Missing 411, missing people.
This would be a good one.
I'm excited to get out of the murders for a little bit.
Yeah.
I need to go take a shower.
Just gotta wash the filth off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited because next episode, we're going to take a dive into cryptids, cryptozoology. We're going to learn a little bit about
Mothman.
the Mothman.
Spooky.
Spooky bit. No, but thank you guys again. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, follow us on our socials. You can find us as the Spooky Guys everywhere.
Make sure to leave reviews. The reviews
Yes.
is what helps us the most
Reviews
on
help us.
iTunes. Whatever the fuck you're on, leave us a fucking review.
And send us a message with your spooky stories, and it might be included in
Call,
one of our episodes.
call me a potato like the last guy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Just leave a review.
Yeah, he's my little tater tot.
Even if you give us 1 star and you say not for me, totally fine. I understand.
Whether you love me,
Reviews.
whether you hate me, you still listen to it all, and that's what matters. Please love me. That's when we loved.
All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Stay spooky.
Bye.
Oh, fuck yourselves.
You took my line.
I did. We were